We're in a point of time now where obviously the seasons are changing. Whether in the northern hemisphere, the fall season makes itself very apparent. In the southern hemisphere, this idea of spring is in the air. So sun has now moved on into a very different portion of the sky, and it's in one of the yellow spokes there, and it's the yellow spoke in the top right-hand corner, and it opens up a whole new season. These yellow spokes, when you see one of these spokes in the wheel, it all relates to the diamond center in the middle of the chart, what we call the self center, the center of purpose, direction, connectedness, and love. It's also been called the G center, as in the shape of the letter G that connects us into perfect geometry. So through human design, we have the acknowledgement that we're connected into everything in this universe. So we're crossing into this number one gateway now, with the sun behind it, this part of the star fields behind the sun's placement, the number one, the gateway we call the creative. And it's opening up a very different season. We call it Samhain in the Celtic realm, in the pagan realm. It was basically a time of bonfires, celebration, get ready for the winter in the northern hemisphere. And also we see that yellow spoke now has moved us out of that quarter of the sky that we call duality, where we're in this balance between things in life. And we moved into the life area, the whole quarter of the sky we call mutation. And it's going to go all the way from middle Scorpio now, all the way to mid of Aquarius. So this whole portion going through the months of November, December, January, and into the whole winter season here in the northern hemisphere, into the summer season in the southern hemisphere. So it's really a changing of ways in this time. And the portion of the sky we're looking at here in the top right-hand corner of the wheel, Samhain. And here's the great thing about it all. We've moved out of this area this last 6 months where the bottom line in every hexagram has been a broken line, a yin line, a receptive line. And now we're moving into the area of creativity and the yang lines that go through all of the hexagrams following now for the next 6 months. So we start off with the 3 solid lines in the bottom, the gate of creativity, the gate of heaven, heaven on heaven, the gate of 6 dragons in the field. There's a lot of energy when the sun passes into this number 1 hexagram, this gate of creativity. And so for the next several months, up until the Yule festival in the 21st of December, we're going to get every hexagram now has this heaven underneath it, this yang, yang, yang energy. So a boost of energy in this particular time for all of us. And so the first life theme that takes place in here is the life theme we call the Sphinx, or the life theme of directions. And each one of the legs here, the 1, the 2, the 7, and the 13, are all in the diamond center in the middle of the chart. They're all about our direction in life. And it's been called a Sphinx because the Sphinx is this rather mystical carving, statue. Nobody really knows what it is in what is now Egypt and in what is now desert, quite clearly desert. And nobody really knows how old it is or who made it or where it came from. But if you look at it from a historical perspective, and then you go into the more into the geological perspective of it, and you look at the erosion that's taken place in this carving, and then you'd have to consider, because of looking at the markings in the stonework, that at one time this was in the middle of a jungle, a rainforest. And so it's ancient beyond words. And why is it aiming in a particular direction? It doesn't seem to tie into anything else around it. And it's aiming at the Sirian star system. And so we have a kind of connection here, an indicative, ancient connection, aiming our attention towards Sirius and its little star system there. So we call it the Sphinx. And as I said, all 4 gates here, the number 1, the gate of creativity, moving forward in a creative way. The gateway number 2, the gate of receptivity, the most yin of all the hexagrams in the I Ching, is the gate of receptivity, allowing ourselves to receive orientation in this life. So it's a very powerful axis, this 1 and 2 axis with the sun and the earth. On the unconscious sun side, we got gateway number 7, the gateway, I call it the gateway of working together, implementation through cooperation, getting on the same page together. And then we have gateway number 13, the gateway we call the listener, or fellowship with mankind, like tuning into what it is that's going on here. What are the experiences that people are having in life? And we all go through massive amounts of experience. So this life theme, the Sphinx life theme, already sets the course for us. What do we aim towards here? Can we get our bearings as we enter this quarter we call mutation, in which transformation is going to happen anyhow? That's the whole nature of this quarter in the sky. So people that have this personal life theme of directions or directing or the Sphinx, they're very, very good at pointing out the way for other people. It's almost like they're a beacon, a lighthouse, a signpost, a reorienter for other people in life. And so that's the thing, when we kind of feel a little off balance or a little bit out of sorts in a way, always handy to hang out with somebody with this life theme, or to just tune into what is this all about? Where do we get our bearings from in this lifetime? Does the Sirian star system have anything to do with this? Do these other star systems, of course, relate to what goes on in our world? So again, it has a mystical quality about it, but it has a very particular quality about it of reorienting ourselves in life. So very much a way of re-engaging in life and getting ready for this whole new season in which mutation's taking place, does every year without fail. So the sun moves on, gets into the fourth line and the gateway of creative, well, it's creativity, but the fourth line, creative self-expression. And anyone that's got this first hexagram with the fourth line, they'll just know the creativity just pours through them in all kinds of different ways and forms. And so again, we got the sun in the sun in the first hexagram, fourth line, the earth in the second hexagram, fourth line. And now the unconscious sun has moved on into gateway number 4. And the gateway number 4 is a gateway of mental solutions. It's the quick fix in a sense. It's, here's something that could be a problem, but let's just deal with it. Let's fix it. And then the unconscious earth in the 49, the gateway of revolution. Let's have a look at this in a very different context kind of thing. So this creative self-expression has a tendency to just charge into things, to just go right into things. So this creative self-expression wants to come through and wants to put out into the world. It wants to come out with all kinds of fixes. With the fourth hexagram, it wants to recognize, hey, whatever's working for us could be improved with the 49, and it can be a little headstrong sometimes, just pushing away into life, creative self-expression, regardless of whether anybody else approves of it or not. And so here's the thing, this is this very different beginning into this quarter of the sky we call mutation, where we're rearranging our lives in a very, very different way. We're just seeing this is a time of massive potential growth. And the whole thing is, can we let go of the old? Can we let go of things that aren't working for us and step into finding new and creative ways to allow the force to be with us, to drive us, to uplift us in very creative ways going forward. So people with a personal life theme, the one we call the Sphinx, the gateway of the life theme of directions, Sally Field, this great actress that we've all enjoyed her movies, Ethan Hawke, this very versatile actor himself, and Marie Curie, the one who really worked out all about radiation at her cost. So these are people that open up new directions for people in life. We now move into the interpersonal life theme of defiance. Right? It's a very interesting word, defiance. And you can just tell there's something about dealing with the status quo here. Ain't going to deal with it, ain't going to put up with it. We're going to do something different. So conscious sun in the 1, conscious earth in the 2, and we're talking about 5th and 6th lines now. So natural leadership, natural overseeing, natural wisdom available here. And the number 1, this, what happens to people with this particular life theme, they have this extraordinary creativity that other people will try and copy and just see, well, how did he do that? And they won't necessarily be able to explain it. This is just something that comes through me. It's a natural form of creativity. And then people with the 1 and the 6th line, I call it the hollow bamboo through whom existence plays her music. It's just a natural medium for creativity to come through. So again, this defiance is just seeing the status quo just carries on repeating itself, but the creativity that can come through this life theme of defiance is intense. My experience of people with this life theme, they may go along with something for a little while, and the moment they're free to make a move on their own, they'll take off in a completely different direction and fulfill whatever it is that wants to come through them. They're going to defy the commonplace. They're going to take things into a new level of creativity if, hopefully, they're living true to their nature. The unconscious sun in gateway number 4, all full of solutions, all possibilities, how things can be rearranged. The unconscious earth in the 49, this adding to this whole concept of defiance. So whether people are going to fit in my life or not, whether people are going to go along with what I'm pointing towards in creative terms or not. And so a very, very potent life theme. And you'll just see that people that have this life theme, they tend to take a different path. If you've ever read any of the works of Fyodor Dostoevsky, this is somebody that had this life theme. In his design, he's a reflector. And his life story is simply incredible. And he'd write about it. Brothers Dostoevsky, Brothers Karamazov, Anna Karenina, all these, he was not Anna Karenina, but Brothers Karamazov is one of the most extraordinary stories you'll ever come across. The Idiot, another great Dostoevsky tome, literally observing the world around him and defying, the emperors of Russia sometimes, getting into all kinds of trouble with that. Leonardo DiCaprio has this particular life theme, and you'll know, my goodness, he jumps from one role to another, and it's like, how did he pull that off? How does he play that role so very well? And it's just this creativity just comes straight through him. Also, another interesting point in time when this life theme showed up was when the Berlin Wall collapsed and the East and the West joined in together. So it just defied whatever the status quo was at the time. Come on, let's get together. Let's have a reunion here and a reconnection. So again, defiance, defying the commonplace. And let's just say these 3 particular hexagrams set the stage as we enter into this whole quarter of mutation, where life for all of us is going to change. We're in radical times these days. There's massive transformation going to come for all of us. The 192 life themes are all available in this Book of Destinies. Your life theme is in there. Your family's life themes are in there. The people you work with life themes are in there. It's fascinating. It's basically a story of humanity in these times. And this particular book, part of the Human Design trilogy, that is out, available all over the world in multiple languages these days. So there we are. That's it. Time to get creative, everybody. See you next time.